This is a very interesting case study about two people who met on a date and they decided to build a business because both had exceptionally good skills. Now, the question always arises between daters is that now, if they start the company, because both of them have the skills but they met on a date, is it a business affair while dating? Or is it business for the sake of dating? Now, that's a big question because think of the risk that people go through when they suddenly hit upon somebody who has the same business ideas and they decide to work on a business together. Now, the problem is that Anne and Dave, and this is a case study after all, they realize that they can build a business. And do they have a love connection? What if they don't? There were too many doubts. What if it affects the business? And if they don't date, will the business last? So there are too many questions over here. But a big question from Anne to us is that she feels the male CEO, this is how she worded it, that the male CEO, Dave, has an attraction with her and that can hinder the progress and the business and the vision. She approached us and we had to give her a couple of answers. So this did take a couple of hours to do, but let us show you what we did. First of all, what we do is all about decision intelligence, and it's all about the physics of intention. Any intention and motivation is based on the spiritual energies of consciousness. Many people look at, for example, the objective world, but what we do is we look at the subjective and then translate it back into objective. Our core system is dependent upon bringing all the ancient wisdom and putting it together so we have a very good core emotional understanding of a human being. Now, this is absolutely mind-blowing. And after this is done, what we do is we have a way to simulate the entire life of a human being, starting from birth. Once this is done, this data model now does a lot of causality analysis and does a lot of predictability. Ultimately, what we do is we understand the essence of a human and then we forecast the unknown, the hidden, and the future. Now, what we have about this case study, and you can read this, let us understand how we solved this, how we gave the answers. Now, what we do is extremely detailed, and for the sake of this case study, we just want to give you an easy way to understand what we do. So what we do is we take these different energies and energy archetypes, and then we put them together. It's like two people in one wheel. From here, we are able to discern some of the very critical elements and patterns that we have realized. From there, we come up with decisions because our decisions on patterns have been analyzed across 30,000 people. So this archetype makes people very comfortable. So Dave and Anne, when they meet up, they're very comfortable with each other. On the other hand, Dave and Anne is going to feel Dave's push a little bit because of this particular archetype. So it's very male. That's why she says, not Dave, but male CEO. On the other hand, we also had to look at other pieces, which is we have to understand the client in the client's shoes. So Dave over here is extremely passionate, but on the other hand, some people don't know where to stop, and he's very, very protective about people and relationships. And on the other hand, has an abandonment pattern. And whenever this abandonment pattern comes in, there's always a doubt. There's always a feeling that somebody is not being included. This is Anne's problem, and we did explain this to Anne in a very nice way. Finally, what we can do is we can basically merge these energies together as if they're like one energy construct. And from here, we realize that this is a very important, very destined, very karmic model, but they have something to do with work and work relationships, because that's exactly what it is saying. If they don't do that, it really is not much of a love relationship. But will they be able to keep that in mind? I'm not sure. But what we realized is this archetype, both of them, really creates big entrepreneurship success. But we also saw something challenging. The challenging would be that this archetype basically draws people together in a relationship. It's like as if the universe is pulling two people together. And sometimes this attraction feels like a magnet, and it feels like as if they are being in love, whereas it really is not. But this creates awesome, really awesome business success. So ultimately, we discussed with Anne and we started answering these questions, and which is, can they build a business together? Yes, they have a huge business connection. Second is, do they have a love connection? Well, there's going to be an attachment and, male female pushiness, which will actually happen, and she needs to clear that out. And ultimately, as per her, does the male CEO have an attraction? Yes, he does actually. He's like this with people whom he trusts and wants to have a relationship with. But once they are clear, actually, the dating should actually translate into more of a business vision and business work together as long they can stay in their limits. But the question is, some of these archetypes does not make you stay within your limits, which is something that we explained to Anne as well. So what are they doing right now? Well, they are definitely not dating, but they are having a pretty successful business together. In fact, they are good friends, but they definitely had their own moment of clarity. Dave has found his match with somebody else, and Anne is married today with somebody different, but their friendship is fantastic. Do problems keep happening? Of course it does. But nevertheless, what we did made a huge difference to Anne and Dave, and it brought extreme amount of clarity. This is what spiritual intelligence can do in matchmaking. Sometimes things don't work. The universe probably has other plans, but ensuring that people are counseled and coached is fundamental that a matchmaker can do with the intelligence that we provide them.